The Denver Nuggets lose to the Los Angeles Clippers in a game that they honestly should have won a couple of different ways. Norman Powell, great game for the Clippers. It's on a heater. James Harden, who everybody seemed right away as he wasn't going to do nothing this year, proving he's still one of the best playmakers in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets starters, they look good. They've looked dominant really since the Thunder game. But they lose because their bench has been an objective colossal failure. Nikola Jokic gets a chance to tie the game up with a three, instead tries to bait a foul off of a Derrick Jones jump. A lot of things didn't go well, despite a 41-point elite performance from the best player in the world. Y'all, let's get right to it. So I'm not going to hold y'all. There's some things to be very positive about. I think Jamal had a better second half. He had 22, 2 and 5, 7 of 14, 3 of 6, plus 6, 2 steals. You can live with it. You can live with Jamal doing that. He averaged 22 and 5 on the year. You feel good. Aaron Gordon, 3 of 10 from the field, 10, 5 and 2, 1 of 4 from 3, but he was still a plus 2. Won his minutes, didn't shoot well. Michael Porter Jr., 9, 9 and 3, 4 of 13 and 0 of 6. 0 of 6 from the three-point line today. He hits a 3 or 2 threes like he normally does. They win the game, but he was a plus 3. Aaron Gordon, not great. Like I said, plus 2. Christian Brown, really back-to-back good games from Christian. 11, 7, and 1 on 4 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, and 2 of 2 from the free throw line with 2 blocks and a steal, and he was a plus 1. Christian Brown has proven that he can be an actual replacement for KCP. But the issue is everybody else after the fifth man for the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic tonight, 41 points in 37 minutes, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. He was 14 of 26 from the field. 14 of 26 from the field. At one point, Jokic was 6 of 13. He then went 8 of 13, and he was 7 of 12 from the three-point line. And 6 of 8 from the free throw line, which cost them dearly. Nikola Jokic, as we have seen him do versus the Portland Trailblazers in 2019, in Game 4 of the first round of the 2023 playoff versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, he misses the free throw. That could have won that game and swept the Timberwolves, and then sent the game to overtime, and they lost. And then Joker, this year, he chokes at the free throw line, and instead of playing defense on the other end, he didn't get a stop on James Harden or Norman Powell. He misses the shot, and then they lose the game. Jokic has done this. He has really his whole career been a dominant clutch player, except at the free throw line consistently. It's the Skip Bayless LeBron thing. I don't know what happens. It's just he is just not the same kind of shooter when he's shooting threes in the clutch, when he's shooting mid-ranges in the clutch, when he's shooting tough shots in the clutch, when he has to sit at the line. He's just not as consistent as you want him to be. And then at the end of the game, instead of just going up for a three, I think because the Clippers, Ty Lue knew what they were going to do. They tried to run like an elevator kind of screen where Jamal Murray basically sets like this little down screen for Nikola Jokic, and Jokic kind of pops off and hits this off the movement three-pointer that he did versus the Wolves last year, that he did all throughout last season. It's one of the Nuggets' favorite pet plays they have at the end of games. And they did it versus the Pacers, I believe, as well last year in Indiana. But in this game, instead of just going for the shot, Derrick Jones gets a great contest on him, and then he shoots the ball, but he pump fakes and tries to bait a foul instead of just shooting it. Not a great play at all. Joker's better than that. He knows better than that. Again, but the thing is, y'all, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I can criticize it. I'm not going to hold that against it because he was spectacular today. This might have been the best game we've seen from any player on the season so far. It probably is, actually. The week just started. But, y'all, Russell Westbrook, again, I want to credit. He had 3 straight very good defensive possessions in the second half. His first stint was horrible. But his second stint, he had really good defensive stops. But guess what? Russ was a minus 13. Julian Strawther, 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now, he was getting cooked a little bit defensively, but he was 2 of 2 from 3. He worked well at the starters. He was a minus 12. But again, I don't really blame Julian for that because Julian is playing next to Russell Westbrook and Peyton Watson and the rest of the bench, and it doesn't make any sense. They're not playing up to their level. They're not playing connected. They're not communicating. They're not doing anything that you would think and hope that they would be able to do. And so they're struggling. So I'm not even blaming Julian for that. I wouldn't even think to blame Julian for something like that. I think that kid's going to be the 6th best player on this team this year. He's that good. Peyton Watson hasn't found any rhythm today of this season so far as an offensive player. 1.0 3, 0 1, -7. That's just not Peyton Watson. But again, Peyton Watson just started playing basketball again. He missed the entire off season in terms of 5-on-5 for the most part, and then didn't play any preseason games. So I'm not as concerned or upset about Peyton Watson. He's going to find it eventually. And I don't want to keep harping on this, y'all. Like, I'm really trying to be better. I don't want this to come off as it's just one individual player's fault. I think Russ is also a player that needs to be replaced on this roster. I want to be clear about that. But I'm more okay with Russ working it out because he at least had some positive upsides. But y'all, Dario Saric cannot play basketball on this team. He is not a better basketball player than Zeke Naji. He is not. It's period. In the story. He cannot defend. He was getting beat in isolation by Chris Dunn today, who's not an offensive player. He cannot rebound. He's not a positive rebounder. The thing that he's supposed to do at a high level is his ability to be a connected passer, but the issue is Russell Westbrook's on the roster. So why would they need a connected passer in that situation? This doesn't make any sense. And I can, Malone was mad in the first half, but I said Malone can be mad all he wants, but I feel the weight of the front office all over this season. It is true. It just doesn't make any sense. And again, Russ has absolutely done things that are not positive, that haven't helped. But let me explain this. Russ is not, he's 2 of 18 to start this season so far. He was 0 of 8 today. Like, you can't play with that. You can't win with that. I agree. He's been horrible in many different ways. But conceptually, he at least is applying like ball pressure and playing defense, and I can look at a play and be like, oh, cool, I can see what he's adding. So if Malone plays him a little bit longer before he gets to Trey Alexander or if they make another trade, I'm like, all right, I can somewhat get with it because I can see there's some upside. Saric, he hit the underside of a backboard on a layup attempt today. The Denver Nuggets second unit has been a switch second unit for the last couple of seasons with Jeff Green, Zeke Naji, and others, and Aaron Gordon when he's with the bench. Saric can't switch. Saric can't play drop. They were playing hedge and recover with Dario Saric, and the foot speed is so terrible. The Clippers were still getting open attempts at the rim or from the three-point line. He can't stay in front of anybody. He can't defend at the rim. He can't rebound at a high level, but he is making, of everybody on this squad, Dario Saric is making the 6th highest amount of money of anyone on this squad, and it is a complete throwaway for the rest of the team. Because the rest of the team, if you told me you would take a chance on Chris Dunn for $5 million, I'd be cool. Yo, Dario Saric is making more money than Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil is making $4.5 million. I would rather have you traded those 3 second-round picks they traded to get off of Reggie Jackson, and you give them to the Minnesota Timberwolves and say, hey, here we go. We'll give you some money, whatever you want. I would rather them do that than have a player that's making life more difficult for Joker. It's that simple. More difficult. Making more difficult for the team. And this is where to come back to Calvin Booth for me. His whole thing was getting youth. Peyton Watson. Now, again, I want to say that if Deron Holmes was healthy, then everything is different. Because Deron Holmes is a rim protector. He is a defender. He is a floor spacer. And he's 6'10". If he was healthy, then this whole thing is different because now the defense looks better. The offense with the bench will look better because he fits. But like Sarge is such a standout because he doesn't fit. And Russ has negative things about his game. He can't shoot. He's a bad decision maker, and he overhelps at times. He's really good at defense at times because of intensity. But even that, I don't want him out there for defense. He's not a better defender than Peyton Watson. But Peyton has to get his sea legs underneath him. Like, this comes back to Booth. Booth in his decision-making with Hunter Tyson, with Jalen Pickett, he decided that this is what he wanted to do, have youth, and then the veterans you do have, you cannot even credibly depend on. Justin Holiday, who's not on I don't even think Justin on a roster. I'm willing to bet. I do not think Justin Holiday is currently on a roster in the NBA. I would rather have Justin Holiday than Dario Saric. Not even a question. Yeah, he's a free agent. I would much rather have that. I would much rather them do that. It makes way more sense. At least you know what you're getting. They legitimately said that we're going to try to build, and I got the concept, but the fact is it's not working and it will not work. It's not going to work. So now what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Because now your starters look clearly, they are over it. You can tell already. They're winning their minutes. They're dominant in their minutes. They were dominant in their minutes versus the Thunder. Didn't matter at all. Because the bench unit is so, and again, it's like the talent is there, but there's no identity. There's no real process. You can't do this. This cannot be the thing that continues. And so I know some of my colleagues within the Denver media circle are going to disagree with me, but that's just where I am with it. It has to be fixed. The Nuggets are 0-2. It's not what I thought they would do, not what many people thought they would do, but they got Toronto and they got Brooklyn in back-to-back games. Then they got Minnesota. Then they got Utah. Then they got Toronto. Like, these are all very winnable games for them, and they need to win those games. You need to get some good vibes going back in this city. But as of right now, this is a team that looks functionally different. Functionally different. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's y'all. It's the freezing. It's the webcam. It's a whole bunch of mess. But I'm moving out of this spot soon. We ain't got to worry about this in the future, man. This has been crazy. But the issue is that the way that this roster is formatting, and again, y'all, I would still say this if they would have won when they should have won. Michael Porter Jr. hits his threes, then we're talking about a different game. Jamal Murray plays a little bit better, quicker, then we're having a different game. And Jamal Murray, by the way, had the worst play of the game, 2 of the worst plays of the game. Jamal Murray had a 4-on-5 in 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left in the game. Derek Jones Jr. is on the ground on the other end. It's a 4-on-5 advantage for the Denver Nuggets, and Jamal finds a way to run into a contested window on the left wing and then throws a pass in a contested paint that gets deflected and ends up being a Derek Jones cherry pick dunk to put them back up 2. And then Jamal Murray, while Nikola Jokic is absolutely scorching from 3, runs a pick and roll with Joker, gets everybody to sink down into the paint with him, including Zubac and Derek Jones. And instead of passing it back out to Joker, he goes up for a layup and gets stuffed, and the ball goes the other way. He's not hurt. Like, everything I'm hearing, it has nothing to do with him being injured. That's all up here. It's all in his head. It's all decision-making. He has to be better. Michael Porter Jr. has to be better. Everybody has to be better. Norman Powell was just on a hot streak, bro. I mean, I have nothing to say. I just respect for Norm. Like, you make that many baskets, you get the job done there, then it's cool. Like, I have no issue with that. Like, Norman Powell is doing what he needs to do. And the play that he hit, where he hit another 3, Jamal Murray sagged off to go to be in the paint. But, like, well, that's because Zubac was eating. Zubac was killing the short roll today. Zubac had 24, 15, and 4, the ultimate play finisher. But, y'all, listen to this. The James Harden was a +3, part of the bench unit. Zubac was a -6. Norman Powell was a -3. Derek Jones was a -8. And then Terrence Mann was a -15. The starters got worked. But Amir Coffey off the bench was a +22. Nicholas Batum, a +17. Chris Dunn off the bench, a +8. And everybody and their mama heard me say, sign Chris Dunn. Sign Chris Dunn. 19 minutes, 11, 6, and 1, and he's an elite defender at 6'4.5". He's a +8 today and outplayed every guard on the Denver Nuggets bench for cheap. But the front office has a vision with Jalen Pickett, and Russell Westbrook is a better option. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, we're not watching the same league. We're not watching how basketball is being played in 2024. Why would you get an unathletic center that is not I'm talking about a legit offensive option that has no defensive upside whatsoever? It doesn't fit. It doesn't work. I got what the vision was. Once they signed it and Russ signed, I said, I understand what the vision, still disagreed with it. Again, if Deron Holmes is here, this is null and void, but Sarge is here. That has to be dealt with. He cannot play on this team. Zeke Naji has to get those minutes, and if you don't trust Zeke, then you got to make a trade. This is that simple. Russell Westbrook cannot be your only dependable backup option at the point guard. Either you build up Trey Alexander right now today, starting from game 3, or you make a trade. It's that simple. We are no longer in the in-between stand. Jokic is 29 years old. He's 29 years old. And we're in a situation where he gets 41 and 9, and he has a great game, best game of any NBA player so far this year, and it doesn't matter. One, because MPJ, it's because that's what shooters do. They're going to be hot. They're going to be cold. But it's more so if the bench isn't a complete and utter disaster, then yeah, we're having a different conversation. They win. They scored 104 points today. They're not scoring. Like the Denver Nuggets shot 40% from the field. They shot 40% from 3 on 35 attempts because of Jokic. They shot 40% from the field today, y'all. That's not good. They were 20 of 24 from the free throw line, creating contact at the line. That's great. 20 assists today for the Nuggets. That's not Nuggets basketball. They're a 33 and 11 team, 33 and 12 team, assist to turnover. So they have to get markedly better at 2 spots, point guard and backup center. And Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, and Christian Brown, it's up to you 3 to develop your game and to get your confidence where it needs to be. Because a lot of stuff is riding on you all. But, y'all, this can't be the final roster. It can't be. There's no way forward if this is the final roster. You have to make adjustments. You have to make moves. Calvin Booth and Michael Malone, y'all better work out. Zeke Naji has to play with this team. He has to. Or you got to get rid of Zeke and you got to get somebody else. And then on the other end of this, Russell Westbrook, he can't be your guard option. Like, there has to be somebody else that's able to come off the bench and be another option. Jokic, great game. Didn't love that ending. Missed the free throw. Tried to bait on that last 3. It's not his game. Just shoot the ball. But again, I'm not going to – it is what it is. Like, he's great in every clutch situation outside of this one. Jamal, 22 and 5. I still wanted more today, but ultimately he played good. But that last decision to try to get that layup was incredulous. And then Michael Porter Jr., 0-6 from 3. One of the best shooters ever. Like, you're going to have to figure that out. But I think he will. But y'all, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Y'all know we got more content coming up here soon. Nuggets got Raptors, Nets, and the Wolves upcoming this week. More videos to come, more content to come. Swipa Gang. Y'all know what time it is. See y'all on